come to the star keynote of day one. And this is a special one. So we have the super accomplished Olympic level sports shooter, Ms. Heena Sidhu. Heena specializes in the 10-meter air pistol and 25-meter pistol events. She made history in 2013 by becoming the first Indian pistol shooter to be ranked world number 1. Heena has represented India in Asian Games and Commonwealth Games and in Olympics, namely 2012 London Olympics and 2016 Rio Olympics. Known for her consistency and calm under pressure, Heena Sidhu has been a trailblazer for women in Indian shooting and an inspiration for aspiring athletes. We are indeed honored to have Heena join us today, and she's going to be talking on the subject, May My Story Inspire. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring down the roof for Ms. Heena Sidhu.
It's an honor to be here at Praxis today and to spend this evening with all of you, all the bright minds in public relations and communications. Though I must confess, I was a little surprised when I got the invite, because I thought, what can a shooter have to say to a room full of PR professionals? So, because I come from a different world. I come from the world of shooting, a world of silence, precision, and pressure. We don't talk much at the shooting range. And yet, when I started thinking about it, I reflected on my sporting journey, the more I saw how closely it connects to yours, the world of storytelling, reputation, and influence. Today, I stand here as someone whose life has been shaped by storytelling. The stories I told myself, the stories others told about me, and most importantly, the stories that helped me find meaning beyond medals, the inner stories, the stories that I told myself. And I believe that those inner stories in sports and in business are what truly shape performance, reputation, and resilience. So let me share one of my stories from World Cup finals that we just talked about and we heard. In 2013, the World Cup finals are an invitational event, actually. They are reserved for only the top 10 shooters of the year. That season, I had qualified for 2 finals, but I couldn't win a medal. Strong in qualifications, but struggling with the new final rules introduced after the London Olympics, I ended ranked 11th, just outside the cut. So my season was over, or so I thought. 10 days before the World Cup finals, I got a call. One athlete had unexpectedly dropped out, and the invitation was now extended to me. I accepted, but the reality hit quickly. I was underprepared. To me, I had used that time to take a break, a much-needed break, so I was not preparing. There was no match in the next month, so I was just resting. But on top of it, the other problem was that my visa, the old visa that I already had on my passport, was allowing me to get inside Germany, but it was not long enough to compete for my match. But anyway, I said yes. And after landing in Munich, instead of training at the range, I was making repeated trips to the visa office to extend my stay. So I was not in the best of my forms during that year, and actually few days leading up to the match as well. The match day arrived. I fought hard through the qualifications and made the finals. But after just 3 shots, I was ranked last. I was just about to be eliminated. So something changed in me. I remember thinking and telling myself, okay, so this is happening again. This might be another elimination, just like all the rest before that during the year. That's fine. I have a plan to go back and train. But for now, I only wanted myself to observe closely what the problem was, so that when I go back, I could train on it, I could work on it. So I told myself, training starts now. That's it. This internal communication shifted my mindset. One shot at a time, no judgment, only observation. I became so immersed in the process that I lost track of my surroundings, the announcements, even the scoreboard. The next thing I remember hearing actually, is now for the gold medal shot. So I had shot 20 shots, not realizing what I was doing, where I was, just concentrating on the process. I took it, and I won. Not just gold, not just a gold, but I set a new world record. A few weeks later, thank you. A few weeks later, I was also ranked #1 because of this performance. So, from being eliminated to creating a world record, just through the power of internal communication, right? But here's what stayed with me. Now here is the interesting bit about this. After winning the medal, on my way back to the hotel, I was quiet. My husband, who is also my coach, was understandably excited and said, "Come on, let's go out and celebrate, let's have some beer." And that's when I broke down. I cried, not out of joy, but disbelief. I kept saying, I wasn't even in the top 10. I didn't deserve this. Not like this. My outer story was one of triumph, but my inner story told me I didn't belong, even after winning. It took time for me to understand the significance of that night. My inner story was working against me. I had started to believe that a few poor final performances defined my worth, that I was undeserving even when the scoreboard said otherwise. But the silver lining was this, that performance and this understanding of my belief system opened the doors to many more medals, and it forced me to confront the story that I was telling myself. And this is where sport and PR connect. In your world, you shape narratives that help organizations express who they are and what they stand for to the world. In mine, I learned that the inner narrative, the way you talk to yourself when no one is listening, is what sustains performance in the long run. People often ask, how do you handle pressure? And I always say, you don't handle pressure, you accept it. I've stood in finals where my vision blurred, my hands trembled, my heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the announcements. We all feel pressure. I do too. And yet the story I told myself was everything. If my inner voice said, I don't belong here, the match was lost. If it said, I've trained for this, I know what to do. Let's go back to the basics, one shot at a time. Let's be a learner. Let's be a student today. And if I feel the pressure, so do others as well. So that's it. Everybody feels pressure. That pressure then turns into focus. Athletes train this inner dialogue deliberately through self-talk, music, meditation, positive body language, you name it. We do everything out there. We rehearse our belief system as much as our technique. Because on the day of the match, medals aren't won by the absence of pressure, but by a strong belief system, your internal thought process, your internal communication. And isn't it true for companies too? Outward campaigns may capture attention, but if employees don't believe in the mission, if the inner story is weak, reputation will eventually crumble. This is why companies with strong internal culture consistently outperform those with the best advertising, because employees carry the story into every interaction. This also connects to resilience. Resilience and discipline aren't built on the promise of medals. They are built on purpose-driven stories we tell ourselves. Purpose is a powerful fuel. A result-only mindset may burn out quickly. You hit the goal, you get happy, motivation dies. But a purpose-driven mindset can go on much longer. It doesn't expire. It keeps you moving, learning, and evolving. Now here's another one. When I studied my MBA, one subject really surprised me as an athlete, and that was change management. It surprised me because in sports, change is constant, right? There is no such thing as status quo. You are either adapting or being left behind. Every single day, every single shot. Change is survival. But when I stepped outside of sport, I realized change is something that is resisted by all. Even within sport, while athletes may be nimble-footed and quick to adapt, our federations, our systems, our bureaucracy, they all remain outdated. I believe that successful change begins with powerful storytelling, anchored in values and modeled by leadership, not just through memos or incentives, but through actions that people actually can see and believe in and follow. And I realize this is exactly what athletes do every day. Our inner stories drive our ability to adapt, to respond when conditions shift, rules evolve, and competition surprises us. And when the inner story of an organization aligns with its outer story, you don't just build a reputation. You create organizations that are adaptable, resilient, and value-driven. As PR professionals, what you do is immensely powerful. You take the heart of an organization and help it find its voice in the world. And when the story told outside is in harmony with the story believed inside, that's when your story can build something truly unshakable. That's the kind of reputation that doesn't just weather storms, but grows stronger through them. And that's the kind of storytelling that inspires not only audiences, but employees, partners, and communities and audiences. And if there's one message that I want to leave you with tonight, it's this. Stories do more than shape reputations. They create values. And values fuel innovation, motivation, and inspiration. In today's world, where employees can feel expendable, where AI is everywhere, and where stress and balance are constant struggles, your role as communicators is vital. You can help organizations not only tell their story to the world, but also help nurture the inner stories that their people can believe in. And when the two align, you unlock performance, resilience, and authenticity that lasts. If there's one hope I carry with me tonight, it's that my story reminds you of the incredible influence you hold. May you continue to craft stories that not only inspire the world outside, but strengthen the spirit within. Thank you.
Invite Reegal Ranjan, Senior Vice President at Value 360.
Good evening, everyone. And Heena, first of all, thank you so much for joining here at Praxis today. I would say it's a huge honor for all of us to have you here, an Olympian, Arjuna awardee, and world's #1, India's pistol shooter, who's there with us.
Thank you.
And your story we've heard, that has been very inspiring, if I would say. And personally, I was very thrilled to share stage with you. And when we were talking also, I was looking forward to meeting you. So for that, Heena, we'll delve a little deeper into conversation, and which will not only let the audience know you as a champion and as a shooter, but also as a person and somebody who can inspire millions of young girls in India. So I'll begin with my questions, Heena. You are an achiever and also, a shining light, if we look at, for the women's sports in India. And we all know that champions aren't defined only by the victories which they have, but how they rise after the setbacks. So, have there been any point or moment in your journey wherein resilience has become, your biggest strength? And how did you build on it?
So the way I see resilience is it's a silent struggle. It's not something that happens when you fall down. It's something that happens even when the day is uneventful. You just have to get up and show up, train, work on that every shot, work with your coach, work with your team. It's very easy to feel motivated when you have a match coming up, but to persevere through the thick and thin, that's what I think resilience is about. And if I read an article about resilience, and that really stayed with me because it sort of articulated what I have been living throughout my life, and that is that resilience is built on three things. Number one is acceptance. It starts with acceptance. No matter what you have faced, what you are going to face, the good, the bad, the ugly, it starts with acceptance. And it's just so easy to accept things rather than fight. I mean, there are certain things that you can improve that are in your hand, but mostly we feel shattered when there are things beyond our control. And the easiest thing to do is accept, number one. Number two is have a very strong purpose in life. Because during that time, you need to know why are you accepting, why are you moving on, what would you get out of this. So having a very strong purpose, for example, for me it was, in shooting it was, I just want to experience shooting. I want to experience everything about shooting. It was never about the medals. It was never ever about the medals. I was an academic student. I was going for my medical career. And this just happened, and for me it was just the whole journey. And the third thing is adaptability. So now once you've accepted and you know your purpose, you know your values, and you derive your strength from your purpose and your values and your dreams, your belief system, you adapt, you pivot. So it's very important for an athlete, because the moment I read this and sort of started thinking about this, I realized that as an athlete, we have been training resilience. A lot of people feel that you are born resilient, you're tough. But it's very easy to train. If you meditate, if you learn how to accept things around you, you have a very strong purpose. We used to write diaries, like I still write diaries. I write my thoughts down. A lot of athletes do that. It gives us a strong sense of who we are, our own belief system, our own sense of self. And then we adapt. We don't, if you talk to athletes, we don't talk about problems. We only talk about solutions. And sometimes because the problems are way bigger than us, there's nothing we can do other than accept, adapt, accept, adapt, accept, adapt. Yeah, so I think that's what resilience is.
Yeah.
It can be broken down into simpler steps. It's not magic.
Yes.
Everybody can do it.
Yes, that's how challenges can be turned into fuel, I would say. And resilience always walk hand in hand with discipline.
Yeah.
So I read Bhagavad Gita multiple times, and there's a chopai in that, which is very important. And it's yogas karu karmani. That means be steadfast in your discipline. And looking at shooting as a sport, that's also, one of the things which is very important. So how over the years you've trained yourself to be disciplined, and how much of your success is mental versus physical, if you look at?
I think first thing I want to say, and I want to take this opportunity to say, is a lot of people associate discipline with punctuality. I don't know why that comes. If you're disciplined, you will be here on this time. But I have seen a lot of disciplined athletes, who have a method in their madness, and they're not punctual. They will be punctual on the day of the match, but they will not be punctual every day. So, but I define discipline a little differently. I define discipline as following sort of like an algorithm, like a computer. If you're given an algorithm, sort of, you know, for a shot, if I look at it as a shot, that this is my pre-shot routine, this is my shot routine, this is my follow-through routine, and this is what I do between the two shots. It is that process. If you follow that algorithm without letting your emotions come in the way, or the pressure come in the way, or other distractions come in the way, that's discipline. That's, once I've started it, that's discipline. It's got nothing to do with punctuality. I wanna really talk about that, because everything, and in today's world, you know, there are a lot of children who are forced to get out of bed at 5 a.m. just to get that sort of tag of being a disciplined athlete. No, let them rest. Rest is as important as anything else in athletic career. So discipline, I feel, is once you've started working, you have a method of working and nothing is distracting you. I think that's how I define discipline. And I think it's much easier to do this way, because even if you have half an hour, 1 hour, and you take that time out and be disciplined, you will be far more productive than sort of reaching office at 9, exactly at 9, and then beating yourself and no, I didn't feel like it. And because there's something called as willpower also. You can just do so much. You know, you may be going through a lot of other life challenges, and you have to use your mental energy very smartly. And that also is, by the way, discipline. A lot of athletes do realize that today I don't have gas in my tank. So what is it that I can do that can make an impact quickly? And the coaches also, good coaches also realize that. We don't always push ourselves. So the discipline is knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and doing the high impact thing again and again and again.
Doing what you're doing with full heart and passion.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. So, Heena, you became the world's #1 Indian pistol shooter in 2014. And then you also won gold at World Cup final. Being the first, you know, this tag, if we look at, it comes with a lot of responsibilities and also stress as well. So was there any moment in your journey wherein you felt that that's too much, and how did you overcome it?
I think in my shooting career, the most challenging aspect of being an athlete that I faced was the constant travel, living through a suitcase, constant packing, repacking, traveling, taking flights, and then traveling with weapons is not that easy. That was one of the challenges. But being the first, I think, actually, I didn't even know when I became world #1. I wasn't even tracking my ranking. I got a call one day from a journalist. He said that I want to do an interview with you because you've become world #1. I said, no, I haven't. He said, yes, you have. I said, okay, give me a second. So I went and checked. So, so that came as a surprise. But yes, it did give me sort of, again, coming back to the internal communication, I thought that now I'm the world #1. I must win a medal here. I must win a medal. So from process, it became sort of like a diluted process, you know, corrupted with attachment with the medal, and that's not a good thing. So I did suffer with that, and I couldn't win a medal at the Commonwealth 2014, even though it was a much smaller event and easier to get a medal over there. But I did perform badly over there, but I sort of understood why it happened. So there are always ups and downs, and yeah, it's always easier when you're an underdog. I feel it's a little difficult when you've achieved something, but you do get used to that feeling as well. You do get used to that feeling if you have a strong belief system and you have a good process, you have a good team to take care of you. So yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful to reinvent yourself and to work towards your goal all this while. So, Hina, as I already mentioned, that you've been a shining light for many young girls in India who really dreams of, being in sports. And last week, I was at an event, Prana, and there one of the speakers said something very striking, and she mentioned that biology has nothing to do with intellect or skills, and it stayed with me. So in India, we celebrate women sportswomen, athletes when they win medals, or for that matter, there are trophies, which they get for India. But every day, if we see, there's so many things which are lacking, right from when we look at women in sports. That's support, it is sponsorships, infrastructure, all of that. So what changes do you think India needs to ensure that every girl with a dream, truly gets her fair shot at least?
Okay, first of all, biology has a lot to do with intellect and skills. What she meant was gender doesn't have.
Yes.
Yes, because there are genes which predispose you to a better athletic skills. Yeah, so biology does have a role to play, at least in athletic skills. Um, but gender doesn't. So,
So,
what, see, the difference is that when athletes understand this, and it's difficult to sort of explain it to people who are coming from the corporate world.
right.
Most of the work that you do is intellectual in nature. You sit in front of a computer, or you deliver say you are in a meeting, or you're delivering a presentation, you're working in a team, you're giving your ideas, right? And it's easier to do that when you're going through pregnancy, say. But when you're working with your body, we deliver performance with our bodies. And there's no solution, because the Olympics are not going to wait for you if you are pregnant, if you are delivering. That's the hard reality. I mean, I would love to hear if any of you have ideas. How can we help women take that break in sport? Because nobody is going to push the pause button for us. Sadly, that's how it is. And that's true for every athlete who's injured also. That's sort of,
That's, I would say, it's thought provoking.
yeah.
And what you mentioned, is truly
Yeah.
it's
Even for
good.
my sport, like you would think that all I have to do is stand still and everything, but from sixth, seventh month onwards, even the movements of the baby are too much for me to even shoot. I can't aim. Like you would think that it's too little, but I can feel that I cannot shoot, I cannot aim. I'm way off the target. So where the difference between, actually I should tell you this, my target is 11 mm at a distance of 10 meters, and that 11 mm is divided into 10 parts. So the difference between first and second is usually an mm or lesser than that at the Olympics also. For rifle shooting is much lesser. The target is only 0.5 mm at a distance of 10 meters. So that's what the margins are. So if you're not at your best physically due to pregnancy, injury, bad biomechanics, there's nothing you can do.
And do you see any changes which India in terms of how the women athletes are in terms of sponsorship or infrastructure support? Obviously that's a support which you're saying, personal pause, that's there. But apart from that, if there's anything which
I think women do
yeah.
much better in sports. Women do much better in sports. I think that is not something um, at the higher level, I would say that they do much better, because once they've won the medals, if a man and a woman has the same medal or the same achievements, women do get to attend more sponsorships and more eyeballs and more brand endorsements. I can tell you that.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Yeah.
Women are, I mean, audience loves women. Men have to work harder, one thing, but men are paid better.
Okay, men are paid better.
Men are paid better in
Yeah,
certain
okay.
sports, like in tennis. The men do get better paid in tennis, in Wimbledon, and certain sports. It depends on the sport. It really depends on the sport. I mean, who wants to see men playing beach volleyball? But that's something I shouldn't have said. But there are sports, and there are audiences, and um, even in shooting, I think women do better than men. And I have also talked to a lot of non-profit organizations like OGQ or JSW, and they actually say that their women are far more disciplined, far more mentally matured, have a better sense of self, spend less time on social media, by the way, um, far less gullible than male athletes. So these are people who are actually working very closely with women and male athletes. And I actually see the difference when I go to the range. The male athletes before the match, they are chit-chatting away. Female athletes, 2 hours before the match, they take one corner and they start preparing. So you can see the gender difference. So, but at the lower strata, having said that, at the lower strata, at at the societal level, I would say that parents do support their boys a little better than supporting their girls when it comes to sports. They would rather put their girls in academics and train them to be, say, doctors or professionals. But boys do get better support when it comes to parents or the society helping them. But the moment they have reached the top level, it's the opposite.
Sure, sure. So now it brings me to my next question, which everyone here relates to, and that's consistency and balance. You are also quite open about balancing your personal life. You are a mother, a shooter, and also, I would say, an individual. So how do you shift those gears, when you're looking at the responsibilities and performing those roles?
I think it's unfair and untrue to say that I am able to shift gears. See, the thing is that once you become a parent, no matter what you do, if you are performing very well at the shooting range, that's coming at the expense of not spending time with your children. And that's true for both men and women, right? People who are close to their children. I mean, they would feel like that,
Yeah.
be
How do
it
you
a father
balance?
or a mother. And if you are spending time with your children, that comes at an expense that you have to pay career-wise, professionally. So it's an act, and this is the choice we make, and that's life. You have to make choices. You have to make that choice today. You have to make that choice in the evening. You have to make that choice again tomorrow. And you have to see, as a parent, I think you know what is best for your child, and where sometimes you need to sacrifice certain things. I mean, it's not easy. It's a tough job, and I wish I could tell you that there's a pill or a magic wand. I mean, I'm also in your boat, like everybody.
Yeah.
So that's life.
Yeah, that's truly inspiring.
Acceptance.
And since we are
Re-
here,
sorry, Reegal. Running out of time. Do you want to take a couple of audience questions before we wrap up?
yes, we can.
Thank you, Reegal.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. I think that gets me to a question of reproductive rights to women. We do not have a policy nationally. We do not have a global policy to that extent. I think you being, probably your story probably can take you to that length. How do you expect this audience to probably take that story for this, reproductive rights to be brought in as a policy measure?
Can you elaborate about reproductive
No, I mean,
rights?
there's an expectation when it comes to reproductive rights on the society. Now, this is a larger group here, which has a lot of power. At least to me, appears. Because I'm an educationist, most of the time, maybe I can talk to the students and it takes a lot of time to actually evolve.
Are you talking about right to abortion?
Reproductive rights in the sense, also the health of the mother when it comes to sports. When they are,
I am all ears. Like I said, I want to hear what solution can we bring on the table, because as an athlete, if there is a match coming and say you're pregnant or you are injured or you're delivering a baby, there's absolutely nothing you can do. The match won't wait for you. And the next match probably will come after 4 years. So I'm all ears if you have solutions. But that's how it works, because we are in the business of really working with our body. We deliver performance with our body. It's not like I can make a presentation and sit down and have a meeting and talk about shooting in the best way possible and come up with ideas, and there's another team delivering my ideas. That's not how it works in sports. That's what I was saying, that I'm all ears if you have ideas, but sadly, and it's not just for women, let me tell you, if an athlete is injured, be it male or female, bodily injured or bodily not capable of delivering performance for whatever reason, they are out. So for women, what we can do is educate them better. When do you want to get married? How to use that, help them make that plan. That if you are really working for the Olympics, it comes every 4 years. So if you want to have a family, you will have to give up some matches. And to win the war, you'll have to give up some battles. Like if you want to perform at the Olympics, probably you should start working towards having children, say, immediately after the Olympics, so that in another 1.5 years, you're back again, and another year, you're at full potential. So that's what women do. I mean, women like Mary Kom, they've had children, and I know a lot of women who have children, but you have to be smart about it. So we can educate them and help them, but as of now, that's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Thank you. Time for one last question. Has there ever been a biopic offer for your film, and who would you like to play?
The biopic
Biopic on your story.
on my story,
Yes.
and who should play the role? I'm willing to take a poll, because the audience knows best, like who would look good on screen portraying me.
Samantha Prabhu. Okay.
So there you have it.
Yeah, interesting answer. Yeah. So since we are at Praxis, and India's top communicators and PR professionals are here in this room, I will not let you go before you answer this question. So how has communication shaped your sports journey all throughout? And also looking at the current landscape, do you think how sports communication could be approached differently, if you see?
I think I've already talked about my communication, and mostly because I come from the world of shooting, so it's mostly internal. So I've talked about that and the belief system that helps us perform. Outwardly, I think what I can advise people who can create stories is that there are a lot of rags to riches stories in sports, and we love those kind of stories, movies and books about rags to riches. We love it. But what about people who do come from, say, a middle class background, who have the means, not a lot of means, but they are getting by and they're trying to build themselves, right? So we need stories about normal people who are just doing that one thing again and again and again. I mean, look at Abhinav Bindra. There's no rags to riches story there, but he came on top.
Consistent.
Because he was consistent, he was disciplined. And one thing he said, which stayed with me, was he said that it's very easy when you don't have much and to give all that you can to that dream, but it's very distracting when there are all the reasons to not put yourself through the grind and still keep doing it every day. So we need to show all kinds of stories, not just rags to riches, but also people who come from really rich background but choose to get down and play in the dirt and really enjoy what they're doing, because at the end of the day, sport is for all. It's not for the privileged few, it's not for the downtrodden, it's for all. It's only one thing in the world which you cannot give your child. I cannot give my medals to my child. She has to win her medals herself. So everybody has a unique story, and we must tell those stories. We can tell stories about mothers in sport and try to create that narrative and try to educate our women athletes in the future. We could have stories about injuries in sports. I know a lot of athletes suffered through mental breakdowns after COVID. Let's do a story on that, how COVID affected athletic performance. So there are a lot of stories out there, and they need to be told.
Yeah, that's some real, life lessons learned here. So, Heena, we already had an in-depth, serious chat, and now it's time for something fun. So, I'll ask you a few rapid-fire questions, and think of this as coffee at Praxis, minus the current and obviously the coveted hamper. And my first question is, the first thing you do after winning a medal, is there any kind of ritual, which you do, or calling your parents or anything?
No. I think I would have my wine and my beer, because I would not be having that
Oh, that's
for a few
that's
days till my
amazing.
match.
Yes.
But yeah, you need to enjoy. I think that's the Punjabi in me. I have to have a pint of beer after a match. If it's good, it'll be a happy celebration. If it's bad, it'll be like,
Yeah, cheers. Yeah. So being from Punjab, one Indian dish you can never say no to. And we all know that Punjabis, they don't have to-do list, but they have to eat list. Right from, chole bhaturas to butter chicken
for me,
and
it's
everything.
saag and makki ki roti.
Okay, dal
Yes,
makhani. Okay.
yes.
Nice. And if your pistol could talk before a final shot, what would it say?
It won't say anything, because I don't say anything. I am not thinking anything, so it won't say anything. It'll just be.
Okay, okay. And the next one is an interesting one. If you could challenge any Bollywood star to a shooting match, who would it be? Maybe, the prompts could be Khiladi Kumar, someone, in the newer lot, maybe
So this is
Tiger
interesting,
Shroff or
because
something.
a lot of times I've seen these kind of scenes in the movie where they are holding a hostage and they have a
Yeah.
like a gun over
Yes.
here, and you can see the face of the culprit, right? Like the whole face is visible, and I'm thinking, why is this guy putting the gun down? Like I said, because for me the target is 11 mm. Like I can choose which part of the eye I can hit in that moment. If somebody was to take a hostage like this and people just put the gun down and put a hand up, so that's something that annoys all the shooters. Arey, pura to dikh raha hai, maar goli.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, so they're not up to it. So Bollywood is not up to
yeah,
us.
so we have some, standards, high
Yeah.
standards, I would say. So, who's tougher to handle? Coach after a bad match or family WhatsApp group?
Always family. Always family. My coaches are very good. Like all the
Okay.
top coaches are very good.
Yeah.
The coaches have to be as calm and as whatever I said as the shooter.
Yeah,
So
I can understand that emojis sometimes can be brutal,
yeah,
on those
yeah.
family
Coaches
WhatsApp
are always
groups.
coaches are always good.
Yes.
At least at our level, they are always good. I've always met good coaches. The bad ones you get to know just from their body language, and we tend to stay away from them. Yes.
And if your daughter were to describe you in one word, what would she say?
Mama, aap gande ho. This is a new thing. Everything is ganda. I get her a gift. Ye ganda hai. Everything is ganda. But that's it. But she loves me. She adores me. I know that. But I really want this phase to be over where everything is ganda.
Yeah. So, Hina, if I have to say one word for you, that would be a champion. And that's, with a smile. And that was super quick, I would say. And your answers were very generous and honest. And today, You've shown us that shooting is all about hitting the bullseye, but life is about aiming with focus, resilience, and purpose. So, ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Heena Sidhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Reegal. Thanks, Heena. Stand together for a photograph together. Thank you.